Welcome to the Impact Training Series. Impact or improvement actions that bring passion to purpose and progress to the practice of mental health care. Hello, I'm Manan, Head of Faculty at Progress Guide. In this Impact course, we would be focusing on care planning, how you can transform the culture and the practice of care planning in your organization. Before jumping into care planning though, it is worth going through what constitutes person-centered care. So I'm going to reuse material from a video that I had previously done for the Promise Project. This was done in association with the Program for Recovery and Community Health at Yale, so Larry Davidson and Janice Tandora, and it was a collaboration between Promise and PRCH. So in this video, we will cover the bedrock of beliefs, the philosophy in which person-centered care is rooted. So why we do it. We would look at the process and reflect on the practice. How do we do it? And then the care plan itself, what's in the contract, who does what and when. And finally, the purpose of person-centered care around setting high expectations. Where do we want to get to? A life that is full of hope and meaning. A life that is meaningful to the person. So person-centered care is at the heart of good care planning. So let's have a look at how could we use recovery-oriented, assets-based practice to boost up the care that we provide, which would then go and enrich the care plans that we formulate. We are all on a personal journey of growth and discovery. Our individual journeys allow us to pan for agency within and draw on the resources that are available to us, the sun, the air, the soil, and proactively seek out support. This might be water to survive and grow, or fertilizer to flourish and blossom. This applies equally to people with personal and professional experience of mental health. Connecting with our own struggles leads us to think about the nature of resilience, how it can be developed, and is reflected back in how we support others. Person-centered care planning is an important tool on this journey of self-discovery. It has increasingly been recognized as a key intervention to restore fundamental freedoms to people living with mental ill health and to transform the systems of care which serve them. The potential power of this strengths-based approach has led to a call for its widespread adoption by many stakeholders around the world. But despite the urgency, there is confusion about what person-centered care planning looks like in practice, and how exactly does it differ from traditional models of treatment planning. What a meaningful life looks like to the individual will determine what that person needs to thrive and flourish. So not only does it take various forms due to the personal needs and strengths of the individuals, but even for the same individual, it can take different shapes and colors depending on where they are on their recovery journey. So no one size fits all. We might find ourselves asking, is there enough water or too much? Do the roots need airing? Do we need a trellis or protection from the frost? Or is it time to stand back and give space to the person to grow? There is no simple formula. However, in considering high-quality person-centered care planning, we have found it helpful to think of 4 aspects, each beginning with the letter P: philosophy, practice, plan, and purpose. Person-centered care planning recognizes that mental health systems have for too long fostered dependency and had low expectations for people living with mental health challenges. In this sense, the first P of person-centered care planning is its focus on purpose. In the early phase of recovery, the right support is needed to navigate the twists and turns of the journey. However, person-centered care planning goes far beyond the reduction of hospitalization or maintenance of clinical stability. It holds high expectations for meaningful individual outcomes across a broad range of quality of life areas and achieving one's potential. The philosophy that underlies person-centered care planning is perhaps the most important aspect. Person-centered care planning can only grow out of a culture that fully embraces recovery, self-determination, and community inclusion, believing that people can and do recover, believing that people can and should have choice in the decisions that impact their treatment and their lives, and believing that a meaningful life in the community is a fundamental right and not something that must first be earned through acts of compliance or demonstration of clinical stability. These beliefs are the bedrock in which person-centered care planning is rooted. Next is process. Best practice person-centered care planning is about much more than the treatment plan document itself. Person-centered care plans must be rooted in a mutually respectful and healing relationship between a practitioner and the person being served. Establishing and maintaining such a relationship may involve a major shift in how we partner with service users before, during, and after planning meetings. Do we educate people about the promise of recovery from the point of first contact to nurture hope and self-activation? Do we practice strength-based, culturally sensitive methods of assessment? Do we invite people to actively involve friends and family in person-centered care planning meetings to strengthen their circle of support, which helps sustain their recovery in the community? Do we provide education to service users so that they can be prepared to participate as equals in the person-centered care planning process? Do we support the dignity of risk and right to fail and maximize the use of self-directed wellness or advanced planning tools? Do we share a copy of the co-created plan and offer people an opportunity to review it, make revisions, and even disagree? These are the questions person-centered care planning practitioners challenge themselves with on a daily basis. Sharing one's experience of person-centered care planning with fellow colleagues will give rise to more questions. If an individual practitioner can recognize the person they're supporting as their guide, answers will blossom, bringing passion to purpose and progress to practice. The person-centered care planning philosophy and process ultimately informs the co-creation of the recovery plan itself. The person-centered care plan can be thought of as an agreement between a person and his or her network of supporters, an agreement that outlines a more hopeful vision for the future and how all will work together to achieve it. Content of the person-centered care plan is expressed in person-first language, and goal statements are articulated in the person's own words. They focus on the pursuit of a meaningful life in the community, not just symptom reduction or treatment compliance. Goals are then broken down into meaningful and measurable short-term objectives that help the individual to overcome any barriers which may be standing in their way. These barriers may include mental health challenges or contextual issues such as stigma and discrimination. Short-term objectives enable an individual to organize what can feel like an overwhelming journey into a series of smaller, manageable steps, all the while sending the hopeful message that we all believe that things can and will change for the better, and soon. Finally, quality person-centered care plans draw on the person's identified strengths to develop goals, objectives, and a range of interventions, including those that go beyond traditional mental health services like peer support, holistic or culturally specific healing practices, and self-management strategies. People receiving mental health services essentially want and deserve the same things out of life as anyone else: a home, family, faith, health, a valued role in society. People want to thrive in their recovery, not just survive their illness. And person-centered care planning is one tool we can use to help people in this process.